It's the Friday Lifestyle segment on PKTV, and my name is Emmanuel Kwesi Mensah. Just as we do it on every Friday, we look at issues that borders on our lifestyle, issues that hinges on our everyday interactions with people. But for the weeks ahead of us, we're going to take a walk, which I've termed the depression walk. Yeah, so we're going to talk about depression today. I've known and seen that it is the most abused or verbally abused word and overly used word amongst we the youth. But we can't be blamed. I feel that we don't have the right information. That is why anytime we feel sad, anytime we feel down, we say that we are depressed. But depression is not what we feel, it's what it is. So let's take this walk together so that we will get ourselves informed about what depression is and how best we can come out of it. Depression is a very common and serious mental illness that negatively affects how we feel, how we think, and how we even act. Depression causes feelings of sadness and or loss of interest in activities that we once enjoyed. It can lead to a variety of emotional and physical problems and can decrease your ability to function at home, at work, and at school. Its symptoms are varying, and it varies from mild to severe. And so once you see that you have feelings of sadness or having a depressed mood, once you have loss of interest or pleasure in activities you once enjoyed, if you used to go to the beach, if you used to go to the club, you used to go to the movies, if you used to go out with friends, if you used to go to the stadium before COVID, you love sports and you don't have interest in those things again, start looking for a professional. But I'll tell you when that professional comes in. Changes in appetite is also one symptom of depression. So it can lead to weight loss or gain, which are not even related to the dieting. People eat more. Some people eat more when they are depressed. Some eat less when they are depressed. But it's not because of the dieting that people gain weight or even lose weight. Because of what is going on here. People are overly thinking about issues that happens or that are happening to them. They are feeling so sad about issues around them, and they are overthinking, and that has culminated into what we call depression. Some others have trouble sleeping or sleeping too much, so you might suffer from hyposomnia or hypersomnia. The hypo is less sleep, and the hyper is more sleeping, and so the trouble sleeping is the hypo, and the sleeping too much is the hyper. And so once you are seeing some of these things, let's get ourselves alerted, or let's be alerted so that we would find help when need be. The next one is loss of energy or increased fatigue. When people are depressed, or when some people are depressed, they lose energy so easily. They get tired for something that in time past they would never even get tired or even complain of tiredness. And so once you start seeing these things about yourself, that you lose energy so easily, you get tired or you get fatigued so easily or so quickly. It's always compared to how we used to do in the past, always compared to how we used to behave in the past. And so once we try to link the two situations and you see that there are disparities, that's when you have to be alerted and seek help. There is increase in purposeless physical activity. And so some people are not able to sit still. If you put them here, the next moment they are there. Some people don't even know pacing. Just as we are saying the social distancing, the 2 meters or the 1 meter or whatever that we are bringing up to help curb this COVID. For people having depression, they don't even know this is too close or this is too far. They don't even know about those things. Or people have slow movement or speech. So slurred speech or slurred movement, so slow movement, these actions must be severe enough to be observed by others. Until these actions are overt, they are out there, they are observable, we can say that you're having a problem. But once you are in the midst of people and you exhibit some of these things continuously, people will know that you are having issues. And people feel worthless or guilty. They are always guilty about even things that has not got anything to do with them. Somebody has died. Oh, it's my fault. This thing has happened. He wasn't even there. It's my fault. They are always feeling worthless. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I can't qualify. I can't pass the exams. I can't write this. I can't read this. They don't feel worthy of themselves. They feel worthless. And once these things are happening in our lives, once we see some of these things, we are getting depressed. Let's be alerted. The next thing is difficulty thinking, concentrating, or making decisions. People with depression can't even think straight. They can't concentrate on an item or the other. By the time you come, they haven't divided attention. They have difficulty thinking and making decisions. And so any decision that they make when they are depressed is nothing to write home about. It's over the bar. It's out of the ordinary. And it's always on the negative. Because they are not in the right frame of mind to think positively or think good about a particular situation. Some of these people also have thoughts of suicide or death. So many suicides that we have experienced, many of them went through or experienced depression. So many suicide cases or situations, many of them had depression before they committed suicide. And so once you start experiencing these things, the feeling of sadness, the loss of interest or pleasure in activity that you once enjoyed, changes in appetite, trouble sleeping or sleeping too much, loss of energy and easily being fatigued, increase in purposeless physical activities, feeling of worthlessness and guilt, thinking or difficulty in thinking, or concentration and making informed decisions, and thoughts of suicide or death. If these things persist for 2 weeks and it's a direct opposite of what you've been doing before that 2 weeks, then we can diagnose you of having depression. And so symptoms must last at least 2 weeks and must represent change in your previous level of functioning for a diagnosis of depression. So if you haven't experienced this thing for 2 weeks continuously and it is not even a change or doesn't cause any stir in your previous level of functioning, then you are not closer to depression. You are just be experiencing an episode of it, but not the major depression as we're talking about. And so let's be guided, let's be informed, so that we wouldn't find ourselves here. Then at the end of the day, we wouldn't even find hope. Let's be informed, let's get to know some of these things, so that when they start manifesting themselves, we'll be able to get help and get it early. Let's look at the risk factors for depression. Then we end the first series or the first episode that we continue next week. So depression can affect anyone, even a person who appears to live in a relatively ideal circumstance or circumstances. Several factors can play a role in depression. The first one is biochemistry. So that is the differences in certain chemicals in the brain which may contribute to symptoms of depression. The other one is genetics. Depression can run in families. For example, if one identical twin has depression, the other has a 70% chance of having the illness sometime in life. The next one is personality. And so people with low self-esteem, just as we've spoken about in the past, people who are easily overwhelmed by stress, or who are generally pessimistic about life appear to be more likely to experience depression. And so those who are optimists can't or are not susceptible to depression, if we're talking about personalities. And the next one is environmental factors. People who are continuously exposed to violence, to neglect, to abuse, or poverty may make some people, or such people, are more vulnerable to depression. And so once we have this information on our fingertips, let's educate ourselves with it. Let's be informed accordingly, so that when we are experiencing some of these symptoms, we know that this is what is happening to us, so we can seek for help. Next week, God willing, we're going to talk about how we can deal with depression in the most appropriate way, so that you and I, even if at a point in our life, because at a point in anyone's life, he or she may be depressed, even if it comes, you will know the right place to go or the right things to do to come out of it. I'm wishing you a great weekend. Be good, be great, and God bless you.